friends, I'm Amy and this is A Star Reads, and it's time for a Sunday sum up. And it's actually Sunday now. The prior Sunday, last Sunday. And I wanted to start this out early because last time I waited till the end of the week to start, but I want to give you an idea of where I'm starting the week out with Spring-Into-Reading-Athon and all my reading. So first, I want to say that I did finish Fenris and Mott by Greg Van Eekhout. I did that today. I was doing some reading sprints for Spring-Into-Reading-Athon, so I was able to get this one completed during that. And I have a review that I will give you shortly, so stay tuned for that. But this one did work for Spring-Into-Reading-Athon, so let's go look at the footage of what prompts it works for. Okay, so since I have finished Fenris and Mott, I can cross off Let It Shine, which is a cozy or happy book. And I would totally think this is a cozy / happy book because it's middle grade. Then it worked for Spring Break, which is a book with a beach setting. And I'm going to show you a little clip here about how I found out that this does have a beach setting. Okay, so I'm currently reading Fenris and Mott, and they do end up going to the beach. Let's see, Fenris trotted along with Mott and Thready down the boardwalk, a wide concrete path running along the beach. So I'm very happy to say that they do go there, and this will count for that prompt. Okay, so that works for that. And then finally, Read Like an Aries, a book that's under 250 pages, and this was 195. Let's confirm. Yeah, 195, that's the ending. Don't look, but yeah. Okay, so that worked for 3 more prompts. I mean, it's putting me in the right direction for a blackout, but it doesn't actually give me a bingo. I only have 2 in any row. So at least I'm moving forward. Next, of course, I'm working on Jade War by Fonda Lee, and I've been doing a really good job of keeping up with my 26 pages a day. So today I have a little bit more I need to go. Actually, a bit more because I've just started reading it a little earlier today. So I've got a little bit more to go. I'm currently on page 122, and I've got to get to page 142 by the end of today. So that is totally doable, and I'm really starting to get into it. I was struggling a little bit with the first 3 chapters, and then all of a sudden it just started picking up. I don't know, I guess sometimes Fonda Lee's writing feels a little tedious, and I was talking a little bit about it with Leanna. I think some of the things she said about more telling and not showing makes sense. There are moments in this where I think Fonda Lee is using situations to explain what has happened in the past, but we didn't actually get to see those things happen, and that maybe is one of the things that makes the pace a little slower for me at times. However, I've gotten into it. I think at this point I'm more interested in the politics in this book than I was in the first book, which is interesting. I don't understand why, but I did enjoy the first book a lot. It was just that I feel like I'm more pulled into the politics of what's happening in this one at this point. And very curious to see what's going to happen in Jade War because I've heard big things happen. So we'll see how far I make it by the end of the week, and fingers crossed I stay on track of my 26 pages a day. Finally, since I have finished Fenris and Mott, I can focus on Under the Whispering Door. This will be the book that I spend most of my time on going forward. I can't wait to really dig into this because I feel like I have read 30 some odd pages, and I've just sort of been like reading little bits here and there, not getting a chance to sit down and actually really spend time with this. And I know that I love TJ Klune's writing style, so I really do believe that this will be a book that I love. I just need to give time to it. You know, I need to focus on it. I'm continuing on Daughter of No Worlds, still at 61% of that one. I don't listen to it on the weekends because I usually listen to it while I'm driving. So hopefully I'll make some progress throughout the week on that one. And then looking at the rest of the week, my next big priorities are gonna be Now We Are 6 by A.A. Milne, because I want to get this one done for the Tale from Two Trails for Team A, so I can get points for my team. And this one will get me 3, actually this one will get me 5 points because it's a team book. So I would like to get to that one soon. Mom was interested in reading this one, so maybe we'll have to do some poetry reading together. Then I was going to prioritize, and Shell, don't get upset, I will still prioritize this book, but I was going to read Project Hail Mary next by Andy Weir. However, I just finished in the last video The Guest Cat by Takashi Hiraide, and that actually works as an award-winning book because it's an award-winning book. And I didn't want to have pressure. I didn't want to have to race through this book because I needed to have it done before the 25th. So I actually counted that book as my Tales from Two Trails award-winning book, use those points so I could get my team those points. And that means I don't have to read this one right now, you know, like I can wait until this month. Still this month, I'm still gonna read it. But I really do need to make sure I get this one done because it is the group book and I'm going to be part of the discussion with the author. Plus, I'm kind of saving this for a weekend where I can spend the whole weekend and use it during my self-care day / cozy reading night. I want this to be a book that I can just cuddle up with and cozy and have time to read it. So I am going to save this one till one of the next couple of weekends. So you might not see this until the next Sunday Sum Up or the one after that. So it will happen. Hey, it's Editing Amy here, and I have since made some changes to what I was saying right at this part. So I am gonna read Project Hail Mary sooner, and then for Shadow the Fox, I've made the decision that once I finish Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent, which I'm almost done with 88% of the way through, spoiler, I'm going to listen to this on audiobook so that I make sure I get this one done because I really need to squeeze this in. And because it's a library book and it's not a book I physically own, I don't mind so much listening to this one on audiobook and not physically reading it. And I think that because it's a YA fantasy, as long as the narrator is a good narrator, I could really enjoy this because I recently listened to the second book, Vicious Spirits, which is in the Wicked Fox series. And I listened to that one on audiobook and it worked really well for me, like that mythology inspired YA fantasy. Enjoyed the audiobook quite a bit. Do you remember, did I enjoy the audiobook? Yeah, I did. So I just think that this will work really well for that. And I need to get to it. I'm getting a little nervous because we're already a little over halfway through the month. And then of course, the other two books that I need to read are The Joy Luck Club and Dragonwick. So that's really where I'm at this point. I'm making good progress so far, and I feel good about my reading this month. I feel like it's doable.
Oh my goodness! Sweet 16 again.
How many do you have?
I don't want to say.
Oh, there she goes.
Hi everyone, say hi if you want to be on my next Sunday Sum Up.
Hi! Paige, thank you.
Okay, so I'm ready to give a review for Fenris and Mott by Greg Van Eekhout. And I did end up really enjoying the last quarter of this. I would say that because a good portion of this wasn't as exciting, wasn't as adventurous as I was hoping for, I felt like there was a lot of setup for the end, which was great. The end was great, but there was just so much setup throughout this story for that I'm probably going to give it a 3.5 star. And maybe on a reread or reading this to kids, I might actually rate it higher because now that I know what the story's about, now that I have a bit of a connection with the characters, because it took me a little while to connect to these characters, I think going back through it, rereading it, feeling the way I feel about the characters at this point, I would enjoy it even more. So of course we've got Fenris, this cute little wolf pup who is the destroyer of worlds, and we've got Mott, who has a lot of family struggles. Her parents are divorced, her dad makes a lot of promises and never follows through on it, has basically started a life over with a new family. And she's had to move to Los Angeles because her mom got a new job, but things have changed even since then, and life hasn't quite gone the direction she had hoped it would go in. And she is a reviewer of root beer, which I think is funny. Her and her friend Amanda review root beer. And then of course there's a lot of little elements of bringing that detail into the story, which are pretty cute. And some of the characters in this are actually really funny and charming and adorable. I did like what I got from it, but I think along the way it would have been nice to have some slightly bigger adventures to get to where we were going, and a little more infusion of these fun characters. I think maybe because it's such a short book, our author was trying to rush to the end. That might be where it lost me a little bit, because it just didn't pull me in until the very ending, and I think we got the best of the characters at the ending. So it was a fun read. It was a nice short read. I'm glad that I was able to use this for Spring-Into-Reading-Athon and finally get to some of my middle grades, because I feel like I haven't been reading a lot of middle grade lately. I will definitely put this in my classroom for my students because I'm sure that they will enjoy it. Maybe I'll even try to read aloud at some point and see how that goes. I would really love to hear what kids think about this book, like how much they love it. I don't think it's hugely read, like widely read, so it'd be a fun one to introduce to my class when I eventually have one, and see what they think about it. So aside from Spring-Into-Reading-Athon, this one also works for my buzzword-athon for the month, and that is to read a book with a character's name in the title. We've got Fenris and Mott, both important characters in this book. Okay, so I want to share you something that I came up with. One of the teachers that I'm studying for on Monday, she said that as far as the students' writing goes, they are ahead of schedule. So since I know her and she knows me, and I was a student teacher, not for her, but at the same time when she was at the school that I was at last year, she's like, if you want to try something you've never done before, this is a good time to do it. Sky's the limit. And so I was like, okay. So I came up with what I'm calling D&D adventure writing. And it's kind of inspired by BookTube, because I'm going to use like randomization to help students craft their writing. So they're going to create an adventure story. It can be written or comic, and at random time intervals, which I've already pulled 5 random time intervals within the time that we're going to have. I'll set up my timer so that I know when to roll the dice, because I'm going to have a d6 and a d20. So for the d6, I'm going to roll that first, and there are 6 possibilities of ways that they have to change their story or add to their story. So if I roll a 1, it'll be add a new character. 2, add a plot twist. 3, change the setting. If I roll a 4, it'll be main character gets a new personality trait or magic ability, or maybe not a new personality trait, but something will come out about their personality trait that will affect the story. And then if I roll a 5, they're going to add a sidekick, or if they already have a sidekick, the sidekick will go on a special adventure, like a side story. And then if I roll a 6, it's musical number time, and I put, yes, you must create a song. So they're gonna hate that. I'm so excited. 5th graders, these are 5th graders. So then after I roll that d6 and they see what change they have to make to their story, I'll roll a d20, and of course it'll go by d20 sort of rules. If I roll a 1, whatever changed has to be an absolute disaster. 2 through 7, whatever changed has to have a pretty bad outcome. 8 through 13, anything that they changed can have a fairly neutral outcome. So really it's not gonna, cause too much change to the story or, too many detrimental things. If it's a 14 through 19, whatever change they make has to have a really good outcome. Of course, if they roll a d20, it's the best possible outcome that could possibly happen given with whatever change they make. So I'm very curious to see what they come up with. I've also added a couple of ideas just in case students are having a hard time coming up with ideas, because I know that can happen sometimes, and I don't want them wasting the whole time we have just trying to think up of a story idea. And I've got my die. So let's see, the ones that Mom got me for Christmas. So I've got my pretty D20. I think these are such a pretty die. And I've got my D6. So I could have added more, but I don't want this to be too confusing. I want it to be something that the students have time to work on, and it'll be fun, hopefully. You'll want it to be a little nerdy and do something different because, she said they're already up to date with all their writing stuff, so we just get to have a good time. Good morning! It is Saturday, and I'm here to finish out this video. Even though you'll have noticed there's not much to it. It was a great week. Oh, and as far as that lesson, that D&D writing lesson went, because I never actually touched back on that, it was wonderful. It went so well with the 5th graders. They loved it. It actually allowed me to temper some of the behaviors of some of the kids in that class who would typically have a lot more behavior, and they were involved. They were in it. They were totally loving it, and that helped a lot with me, I guess, establishing some clout with those students. Fifth graders are a little more tricky sometimes, especially when you're a sub and you've never met them before. So I thought that that went so well and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. I couldn't be happier with that. I'm definitely keeping that one, D&D adventure writing, or any versions of it. I'm going to keep different versions of it as well. So I am so excited about that and that it went so well. It was a long week of teaching, a great, and in some instances not great, but it was a great week. I had one really rough day. Tuesday was a really, really rough day with kids that I knew, but I had never taught them for a full day before. I'd only taught them like individual lessons. It was one of those groups where if you give them an inch, they will take it and just run with it. So we had a tough day. We got through everything, we survived and all that, but I just feel like I didn't have a good time that whole day. Like it brought my self-esteem about teaching down quite a bit. So then I talked to the teacher quite a bit. I talked to the vice principal quite a bit. We came up with some ideas of what I could try on the next day. And the next day was like 20 million times better. And I had to be a lot more strict and a lot more like on top of things. But the day went smoothly. And I was so happy that I didn't have another day like Tuesday, because Tuesday felt awful to me. So then Thursday was second grade in a new group I had never met before, but they were adorable and sweet. And then yesterday was my favorite second grade class, and it was like the perfect day. So I was just so happy that it went so well. And of course, as you saw the little clips of, Jordan and I are still doing our exercising first thing in the morning. And that was really, really good. I'm glad we're doing that consistently. And so all in all, between school, stressing about it, birthdays, exercising, all that stuff, I didn't actually get much reading done this week. So I am currently not as far as I want to be. I'm 140 pages into Under the Whispering Door. And I'm really enjoying this. I just am not having enough time to read this because I'm trying to stay on top of my reading for Jade War. And I'm not quite on top of my reading for Jade War, but you know, I'm trying. So I'm 240 pages into this one. I'm making good progress, but not my 26 pages a day. So I'm continuing on with this one in this upcoming week. Although this weekend I'm putting both of these down to work on a special project. And that is a bit of a bummer for this one especially, because I really need to be making progress, but I do need to get the special project done. So that's kind of what happens when you just I didn't have enough time to read this week. And then for my audiobook, Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent, I'm 88% of the way through this one. So I'm getting close to finishing this one, and I'm really, really enjoying it. There's just been some twists and turns, some things that have happened that I haven't quite expected of it. And it's not that they're very surprising, it's just that I've enjoyed the process of reading this story. And so I'm definitely going to continue on with this series at some point in the future. Probably not the audiobook, but I'll definitely continue on. And hopefully I'll get that one done in the first few days of the week when I'm listening to it in the car. Let me know in the comment section down below what you read this week that just blew your mind or was really exciting, really fun. I definitely had some great moments with Jade War this week. There were some big things that happened that I was not expecting to happen. So, or if I did expect them to happen, I didn't like, you kind of think, oh, it could happen, but you didn't expect it to happen that way, or there's some pretty surprising things that happen in Jade War. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens next week. Hopefully I'll have a bigger Sunday sum up for you, some more updates, and hopefully I'll get back to editing because that hasn't happened. So I still have a lot of stuff that needs to be edited that I just didn't have the time to do any editing for. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.